After going through the properties of amorphous and crystalline solids, we will now study about the classification of crystalline solids. देखिए, based upon the nature of the constituent particles, what I am saying is, based upon the nature of the constituent particles, दो तरीके के factors responsible हैं. एक तो particles किस तरह के present हैं और दूसरा उनमें किस तरह का binding force है. What type of binding force do they have? So based on the nature of the binding force and the constituent particles, you will find crystalline solids, they are divided into 4 categories. What are these 4 categories? Ionic, molecular, covalent and metallic. We have ionic solids, we have molecular solids, we have covalent solids and we have metallic solids. First, we will be studying about the ionic solids. नाम से ही पता चल रहा है, when I am saying the word ionic solids, that means जो particles इसके हैं वो basically ions हैं. The particles that are present are basically ions, and we have 2 types of ions. We have the cations and we have the anions. We have the negative charge and we have the positive charge. Clear? So you will find these ions, suppose I take the example of NaCl. Sodium is the cation and chlorine is the anion. If you take these particles into consideration, you will find that these particles, they are arranged in a 3-dimensional space, and these ions, we all know that ionic solids or ionic bond is one of the strongest bond. That is why between Na and Cl there exists a very strong electrostatic forces of attraction, also known as strong Coulombic forces of attraction. And we have very strong Coulombic forces of attraction, and that is why these are termed as ionic solids. अब इनकी कुछ खासियत भी देख लेते हैं. Let us see some of the characteristics of these ionic solids. The first category or the characteristic of ionic solid is क्योंकि इनके बीच में they have a very strong electrostatic forces of attraction, इसीलिए they have high melting and boiling point. What do they have? They have high melting and boiling point. Because these ionic solids, they have very strong electrostatic forces of attraction. That is why they have high melting and boiling point. एक और चीज है, अगर मैं जैसे पहले भी बताया था, if I take a beaker and if I take 2 electrodes, if I take it like this and if I connect these 2 electrodes, take a piece of NaCl, sodium chloride, and if I connect 2 electrodes and if I connect it with a battery and then after I connect it with a bulb and if I continue the circuit, will this bulb glow? No, this bulb will not glow. Why? Because in their original or native states, all the ionic solids, they are insulators. What they are? They are insulators, ionic solid insulators. क्यों? Because they do not have their free ion to move in their native state. Clear? लेकिन अगर मैं इसमें पानी डाल देता हूँ, I turn it to its molten state or aqueous state or in the solution state, then you will find that this bulb will suddenly glow because now they have their free ion present. So this is also one of the property of ionic solids. In the same way, all the ionic solids, I repeat, all the ionic solids, दुनिया के जितने भी ionic solids हैं, they are soluble in polar solvents. Like dissolves like, omnius solubile solubila. So all the ionic solids, if I take NaCl, अगर मैं इसको पेट्रोल में घोलूं तो कभी नहीं घुलेगा या बहुत टाइम से घुलेगा. लेकिन if I dissolve it in water, H plus OH negative, so water is a polar solvent, and that is why these ionic solids, they are soluble in polar solvents. They are not soluble in non-polar solvents. In the same way, as I told you, because ionic solids, they have एक ionic solid दूसरे ionic solid से बहुत strongly जुड़ा होता है, Na positive and Cl negative. Ionic solids they are very hard in nature. And why they are very hard in nature? Because of the strong electrostatic or coulombic forces of attraction. Clear? So that is the reason that ionic solids, they are very strong in nature. लेकिन ionic solids इसके साथ साथ competitive level पे ये भी समझ लीजिए कि ionic solids, they are strong, they are hard, but they are brittle also. Ionic solids वो चूरा चूरा भी हो जाते हैं. It depends upon their geometric pattern. This depends upon their what? It depends upon their geometric pattern. After ionic solids, let us study today about the molecular solids. The second type, after ionic solids, we will next talk about molecular solids. Let us see what does this word carries and what does it mean when I am using the word what you rightly call as the molecular solids. तो चलिए देख लेते हैं. Obviously, the constituent particles in molecular solids, they are not ions, rather they are molecules. एक चीज तो क्लियर है. और मॉलिक्यूल्स के नेचर के हिसाब से हमने इनको तीन कैटेगरी में डिवाइड किया है. द मॉलिक्यूलर सॉलिड्स, they are further divided into three categories. Non-polar molecular solid. The first one is non-polar molecular solid. Then after second one we have is polar molecular solid. The second one is polar molecular solid. And the third one obviously is the hydrogen bonded molecular solid. The third one is hydrogen bonded molecular solids. So we have the three categories of the molecular solids. We have the non-polar molecular solid, first one, then second polar molecular solid, and the third one is hydrogen bonded molecular solid. We will study simultaneously one after the other, but first we will study non-polar molecular solids. So let us see and study about the non-polar molecular solids. Now see, non-polar molecular solids, obviously they are crystalline solids. These are such type of crystalline solids जिसमें constituent particles, they are the atoms. The constituent particles या तो atoms है जैसे noble gas में होता है, या they are non-polar molecules like hydrogen, chlorine, iodine, etc., etc. क्या बोला मैंने? Either the constituent particles, they are noble gases, or they are non-polar molecules like chlorine, bromine, iodine, etc., etc. Now you will find कि मैंने इसमें एक वर्ड ये क्यों यूज किया कि they can be noble gases. Why did I use this word that it can be noble gases? सिंपल सी बात है, जैसा मैंने बताया कि you will find they have weak forces of attraction between them. These weak forces of attraction between them, जैसे मैंने बोला हीलियम या नियॉन का मैंने एग्जांपल दिया. हीलियम में कैसे अट्रैक्शन होगा, चलिए एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल से देखते हैं. You will find, suppose I have two helium atom. This is helium atom 1, He1, and this is helium atom 2, that is He2. इनके बीच में you will find, because same charges हैं, तो इनके बीच में तो रिपल्शन होगा ही होगा, लेकिन इनमें मोमेंटरी अट्रैक्शन भी होता है. And this momentary attraction between two helium atom or two helium atom like particles, this is known as dispersion forces or London forces, discovered by London Fritz. These forces are commonly called as this momentary forces of attraction. It is commonly known as London forces. So they will develop these momentary dipole. One will get, this is momentary dipole and this is induced dipole. This one is the momentary dipole and this one is what you rightly call as the induced dipole. It is in case of, as I told you, helium. अब इनकी कुछ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स भी हैं. सबसे पहली कैरेक्टरिस्टिक क्या है कि ये जो नॉन पोलर मॉलिक्यूलर सॉलिड्स हैं they are mostly soft. These non-polar molecular solids, they are mostly soft. क्यों soft है? Because they have weak intermolecular forces of attraction. So that is the reason that they are soft in nature. Clear है ना? And ये कभी भी they can never turn to be conductors. They are always non-conductors. क्योंकि इनके बीच में कोई free ion नहीं होता. So they are always non-conductors. What they are? They are always non-conductors as they do not have free ions between them. So they are always non-conductors. और क्योंकि soft है, तो obviously they will have what? They will have low melting point and boiling point. They will have low melting point and boiling point. And as I told you, because they usually have what? Due to weak intermolecular forces of attraction. जैसा मैंने आपको बताया था, ये mostly दो states में दिखते हैं. Either they are gases or either they are liquids. कब होंगे gases और liquids? At room temperature and pressure. They are mostly gases or they are mostly liquids. This was all about the non-polar molecular solid. अब हम लोग थोड़ा सा बात करेंगे polar molecular solid की. Amongst the second category of the molecular solid, we have the polar molecular solid. So let us see. The second category of the molecular solid is polar molecular solids. So when I am talking about the polar molecular solid, मैंने आपको बताया था कि molecular solids there are three types. What are they? Non-polar, polar, and hydrogen bonded. We will now study about the polar molecular solid, the second category. Clear? Obviously, इनमें जो constituent particles हैं, they have dipoles. Dipoles means they are polar in nature, like HCl. You know it, H positive and Cl negative, so they have dipoles in them. So सबसे पहली बात है, and you will find कि इनके बीच में आपस में डाइपोल इंटरेक्शन होता है. कैसे होगा? सपोज ये एक HCl का मॉलिक्यूल है, सपोज, तो दिस इज पॉजिटिव एंड दिस इज नेगेटिव. फिर ये दूसरा HCl का मॉलिक्यूल है, तो ऑब्वियसली दिस इज पॉजिटिव एंड दिस इज नेगेटिव. तो दे हैव, दिस इज व्हाट यू कॉल एज, ये एक डाइपोल हुआ और ये एक डाइपोल हुआ. तो दिस टाइप ऑफ इंटरेक्शन इज नोन एज डाइपोल इंटरेक्शन. What it is known as? This type of interaction is known as dipole interaction. So polar molecular solids usually they have dipole interaction. You will find. Clear है ना? And dipole जो force of interaction है, it is, ये है तो आपस में dipole interaction, but it is a weak forces of interaction, also known as weak van der Waals forces of attraction. आइए इनकी कुछ प्रॉपर्टीज देख लेते हैं. लेकिन इनका जो फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन है वो नॉन पोलर मॉलिक्यूलर सॉलिड्स के फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन से ज्यादा है. देयर फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन इज मोर एज कंपेयर्ड टू नॉन पोलर मॉलिक्यूलर सॉलिड्स. व्हिच पोलर मॉलिक्यूलर सॉलिड्स. अब इनकी प्रॉपर्टीज देख लेते हैं पोलर मॉलिक्यूलर सॉलिड्स की. तो सबसे पहली है कि यूजुअली दे आर सॉफ्ट इन नेचर. द फर्स्ट प्रॉपर्टी इज that they are soft in nature, and apart from having dipoles, they are non-conductors of electricity. So they are soft in nature, they are non-conductors of electricity. As I told you, they are soft in nature and they are non-conductors of electricity. इनका melting point और boiling point as compared to non-polar molecular solids high. They have high melting point and boiling point as compared to non-polar molecular solids. Is this clear? You getting me? तो non-polar molecular solids से थोड़ा सा इनका melting point high होता है, लेकिन उतना high नहीं होता. Is this clear? तो you will find कि एकदम high नहीं है, there इनका melting point जो है, boiling point है, high है, लेकिन उतना high नहीं है. So that is why these polar molecular solids, they also exist as gases or liquids. So what do they exist as? They exist as gases or liquids. they exist as gases or liquids. और इसके बाद हम थर्ड तरह के molecular solids को देखेंगे, and that is known as hydrogen bonded molecular solids. We will see the third type of molecular solid, and that is known as hydrogen bonded molecular solids. So let us see the third type of molecular solid, and that is known as hydrogen bonded molecular solids. So we have the third type of the molecular solids, commonly known as hydrogen bonded molecular solids. अब इसमें what does it mean? The hydrogen bonded molecular solids are such type of molecular solids जिसमें कोई ना कोई एटम, चाहे इलेक्ट्रोपॉजिटिव हो या इलेक्ट्रोनेगेटिव हो, it is usually bonded, mostly electronegative, which is it is usually bonded with a hydrogen atom. किससे bonded है? हाइड्रोजन एटम से बॉन्डेड है, लिंक्ड है, चाहे वो अगर आप देखेंगे क्लोरीन हो, ऑक्सीजन हो या नाइट्रोजन हो. क्लियर? जैसे मैंने एग्जांपल बताया H2O, ऑक्सीजन इज बॉन्डेड विद 2 एटम्स ऑफ हाइड्रोजन. अमोनिया NH3, nitrogen is bonded with 3 atoms of hydrogen. So these are commonly called as hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Is this clear? Right? है ना? अब क्योंकि हाइड्रोजन बॉन्डेड है, एक नेगेटिव है और दूसरा क्या है? पॉजिटिव है, तो दे हैव स्ट्रॉन्ग इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक फोर्सेस ऑफ अट्रैक्शन, और आई मस्ट से सॉरी, दे हैव स्ट्रॉन्ग इंटरमॉलिक्यूलर फोर्सेस ऑफ अट्रैक्शन. Is this clear? Right? And ये strong intermolecular forces of attraction इनमें क्यों है? Because they are linked with hydrogen bond. हाइड्रोजन से लिंक्ड है, इसीलिए they have strong intermolecular forces of attraction. इनमें भी कुछ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है. कौन-कौन सी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है? अधिकतर ये सब के सब जो हैं वाष्पशील बोलते हैं हिंदी में, हम इंग्लिश में उसको वोलेटाइल बोलते हैं. तो most of these solids, hydrogen bonded molecular solids, they are volatile liquids. What they are? भाप बन के जान उड़ जाने वाले, they are volatile liquids, या इनको soft solids भी बोलते हैं. Again at normal room temperature and pressure. So they are either they exist as volatile liquid or either they exist as soft solids. The first point. Again they are non-conductors of electricity. So what they are? They are non-conductors of electricity. And third point is obviously that इनका melting point molecular solids से थोड़ा सा high होता है. Their melting point is high as compared to polar molecular solids. तो आज हम इसको यहीं end करते हैं, और next class में हम covalent या network solids और metallic solids के बारे में हम इसमें छोटा सा एक डिस्कशन करेंगे, और उसके बाद हम सबसे सॉलिड स्टेट के सबसे जबरदस्त हिस्से में जाएंगे. विल बी स्टडीइंग अबाउट यूनिट सेल्स, क्रिस्टल लैटिस एंड एवरीथिंग कंटेन्ड इन सॉलिड स्टेट. थैंक यू.